My name is Frances Patton, as you see on the screen. It's in reverse order up there, and I am president of the Irish Federation of University Women. We have 4 associations in our federation. We have an association in Galway in the west of Ireland, Trinity College Women Graduates and University College Dublin Women Graduates in Dublin, both colleges in Dublin, and Queen's Women Graduates in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I'd like to stress that we are an all-Ireland federation, and all the associations contributed to and were involved in planning today's social event. We were very disappointed to have to cancel last year's meet and greet in Dublin due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are very pleased to have the opportunity to hold this meeting on Zoom. The president of UWE, Dr. Nègre, has recorded a message of welcome, and I will hand over now to Dr. Nègre for her message.
I can tell some few words directly if you prefer, because the connection is good. It's up to you.
Okay. You're more than welcome to do so, I guess.
Okay, so I do. So hello to all of you. It's a real pleasure to meet again for the Irish meet and greet. Of course, a big thanks to our friends who prepared last year a wonderful program to receive us, and the cancellation of the last session was imposed by the pandemic. Then they went back to work to offer us this event. First, we hoped in person, but it was not possible. So it is by video, and thanks a lot, because I know all the work you've done. Everything is complicated, but University Women of Europe is really sensitive to your effort. A big thank you also to the UWE board, always devoted and efficient, and to our friends of UWE to be present and always interested by our work. Everything is now hope that it will go better shape, and that your families will be fine, spread from the dirt that has invaded our life, which has led to a world crisis unknown to this day, and which is generating significant setbacks on women's rights, equality policy, and dramatically on the increase of violence suffered and the degradation of the condition of women in Europe and elsewhere. Of course, Turkey, with the first time a member state of the Council of Europe, operates a procedure of withdrawal of a major treaty, the Istanbul Convention. The Council of Europe is at a turning point of its history. Either other country will follow this withdrawal as if by a chance on a treaty protecting women from domestic violence, or the ramparts of human rights will be strong enough for majorities in countries not to undo what other majority have built. Please tell you, Turkish friends, that we are in solidarity, and that together with you, we must see the best action to proceed in order to support you. UWE, and you, National Association, together, we have strong mission to accomplish again and again in friendship and mutual respect. Thank you to be there, and now good work for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. And I look around the screen and I see that we are joined today by members and friends from many parts of Europe and elsewhere. I would like to mention some of our visitors. I see people today from Austria, from Britain, England and Wales, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands and Romania, Scotland, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, Sweden, from Turkey, from the Turkish Cypriot Association and from Israel. And a special welcome to visitors from the new associations in Lithuania and Russia. I give you a brief outline now of the program. It has been hosted today from Belfast by our CER, Leighanne Montgomery and Claire Louise. We begin We begin with a talk from Dr. Angela Vaupel on women in European film. And this will be followed by a talk from the Irish art historian, Dr. Síghle Bhreathnach-Lynch, who will introduce us to the artwork and the frescoes in a small chapel or oratory located in the Dublin suburbs. There will be time for questions for the speakers. We will then have a demonstration on making traditional Irish brown soda bread and Irish coffee. And following these demonstrations, we have a short break for lunch, about 5 minutes, Leighanne tells me. The lunchtime musical entertainment is provided by Colette and Sophie O'Neill. We end our programme with an update on the UWE AGM, scheduled for Helsinki, Finland in September. And we end with reports from the NFA Young Members Groups. I now hand you over to our host from today, Leighanne, and she has some information, some housekeeping for us before our programme starts. Leighanne.
Hello, Frances. Thank you very much. That was a great introduction, and I hope everyone is really looking forward to the events of today. I hope it's a little bit fun. You learn a lot about Irish food and things like that. But as Frances mentioned, I have a few housekeeping thoughts and rules that will just make sure that today is as enjoyable as possible for everybody involved. So I'll go through those with you now. My name is Leighanne Montgomery. I am the former president of Queen's Women Graduates Association, and I'm currently CER for the IrFUW. So welcome everybody, welcome all. Thank you for being here and for the opportunity to host this meet and greet event. I do wish we could do this in person. It would have been lovely to see each and every one of you. There's so many people on the chat today. There's like 109 people at the minute. It would be nice if I got to meet each of you in person, and I hope that one day I will. So a few little bits of housekeeping here. Claire Louise Wilkinson, she is my colleague and my dear friend, and she is also currently president of Queen's Women Graduate Association. She is on this event today. She is giving me a little hand to make sure that she's giving a wee thumbs up in the screen if you can see her. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's a lot of people here, but she's got a wee Queen's University in the background like me, so she's a little bit easier to identify. She'll be giving a hand today. So if you have any issues or questions, she's your girl. A lot of effort and time has went into this event. As you may know, some parts are recorded already, and I will be playing those for you. And some were live talks. So can I ask that during this event, if you're not speaking or participating, could you please stay muted? Where I can, I will pick up a few stragglers that might not realize their mic is on and they're interrupting. Please don't take offense if I mute you. It's simply for clarity. And if you have any questions, so we will have 2 speakers today. There will be an opportunity to ask questions. Could you submit them via the little chat function within Zoom? Claire Louise is keeping an eye on those, and she's keeping an eye on the screen. So if anyone has anything urgent, we should be able to ask them. Now, time permitting, we mightn't get to ask all of them. As you can see, Zoom started off chaotically this morning, typical Zoom. But it does mean that we can ask 1 or 2 really good ones. What we'll do is we will ask the person to call upon them. So for example, if our Máire O'Connell had asked a good question, I might then say, Máire, would you mind unmuting yourself and asking your question? And we'll take it from there. Then the speaker has a chance to answer. So if you need assistance as well, please send a private chat to Claire Louise. If it's urgent and you're not in the Zoom for any reason, email my inbox. We're monitoring that as well. But I do recommend to enjoy this event thoroughly that you change your settings to speaker view if you haven't already done so. At this stage, you'll want to see the person speaking and you'll want to know what they're presenting. You can do that in the little right-hand corner. There's a button called View. Please change that to speaker view. This event is actually recorded today for no other reason than we would like to submit it to our archives. How nice would it be to look back at the archives and see how we handled events in 2021 following a pandemic and how we should have had this in person, but here we are today delivering it online. All the pre-recorded videos and talks can be made available following the event. If you wish to see them again or you have any difficulty today, don't panic, you will have a chance to see them again. And lastly, as Frances mentioned, there'll be a 5-minute comfort break. So please stay seated where you can, enjoy the first half and be ready to take your comfort break before the lunchtime entertainment. So yes, that is all the housekeeping. No more rules or regulations today. I'm here to start and kick off with our first speaker, who I hope is here and ready with us. It is Dr. Angela Vaupel. So I'll give you a little bit of information about Angela today. I have a little blurb prepared. So Dr. Angela Vaupel is a senior lecturer in international studies in St Mary's University, Belfast. Her main areas of expertise include the teaching of European culture, literary history, and film, as well as the study of conflict and minority experiences within Europe. Her research interests are interdisciplinary and focused on multilingualism, the promotion of transcultural competencies, and the representation of minorities in European film. Now, Angela was in fact my lecturer at St Mary's University, so I have the absolute privilege of introducing her today. She's an absolutely fantastic woman and has some great insights into female representation in film. So I'm delighted that she's agreed to present for you today. So I would invite Angela, if she doesn't mind, to begin sharing her screen when ready, and we will kick off. Wonderful, Angela. Thanks very much. And make sure you're not muted, Angela, as well. No, we can't hear you.
Okay.
That's you now.
That's me now. Okay. Thank you very much, Leighanne, for these super kind words. And can I also say how impressed I am that my former UWE student is such a professional woman now, and I'm so very much delighted and proud. I would also like to thank the Federation for having me today and talk to you. And then without much further ado, I would start my UWE talk. I hope you guys don't mind that it comes in form of a PowerPoint, you know, back to university. And but I always feel for myself that I am much more focused if I have something in front of me, and I'm a very visual type of learner. And so I thought it might be helpful for the majority, I hope. Now, starting straight away with this cover slide where you can see two pictures of women in film, quite icons, I would say, because they are both figures from cult films. On the left-hand side, you see Sinead O'Connor as the foul-mouthed Our Lady, a figment of imagination of the child protagonist of Neil Jordan's Irish film, The Butcher Boy, from 1997. And then on the right-hand side, the black and white still is of actress Anita Ekberg, Swedish actress Anita Ekberg, as the sensual and seductive movie star Sylvia in Federico Fellini's cult classic film La Dolce Vita, The Sweet Life, The Good Life, from 1960. And I've chosen those two pictures because they're pretty much representative of the two traditional key representation of womanhood that we find in film, in global film, but in European film certainly. And that is the choice that women have, either to be the whore, the harlot, or the saint. And I'm not going to tell you much news, I suppose, which you don't know already when it comes to the representation of women in film traditionally. What I can do in today's scope of this talk is basically have a look at how the development of representations of women in film on screen and within the industry has been changing over time, or has it? That is the question. And what I do, or what the aim of my talk is, apart from hopefully entertaining you a wee bit, is simply to monitor this development and bring us to the update of the situation in 2020 or 2021. 2020 is actually the year of the last figures that I have managed to get from researching this topic. Okay, so obviously, don't know whether you can all read this quote. which I've taken from a European Parliament briefing paper, and which I think speaks for itself with regards to the position and treatment of women within the film industry, including Europe. And that quote is really quite recent, referring to the constant or the actual issues around Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, and of course the sexual harassment, which is not something new, but with the Me Too movement is being put again on the agenda. And what we don't know is, despite the intense protests that brought the wider issues of women's position in the film industry to the fore, particularly with the Me Too movement, and created, of course, much outcry and passion, we don't know yet whether activism and the risen awareness have indeed generated any real or lasting change with regard to the long-term inequalities in the industry, which in part, of course, has something to do with the pandemic situation as well. Film production is lying low, was stopped for a good while, and yeah, so we will basically have to monitor whether changes will be introduced, or was that an outcry and a token and nothing much else. So the situation with regards to women in filmmaking positions that we have currently, and here we have an average number from the time frame 2012-2016, films that had been released during the time, and the average of European films directed by women, as you can see here, is just 19.6%. And that is, of course, not the case in every European country, but it is an average. And we have smaller countries like Latvia, where we see 5% of women filmmakers, to Sweden, who is the champion right now with 30% of women filmmakers. And also in other parts of the film industry, Sweden is pretty much at the top currently. And then what we can also say is that nothing much has changed with regards to the other areas of women in the film industry, where we have them rather overrepresented in the professional, traditionally considered feminine departments, such as costume design, makeup, editing, and so forth, but largely still underrepresented in areas that are traditionally seen more technical, and those more male dominated, such as those areas dealing with sound, music, lighting, and image. So yeah, and let's move on. I think I have yes, I do have a graph here that makes it a bit more visual. Remember, that is with regards to European films. It looks a wee bit better in Hollywood, believe it or not. If we look at all film productions, then we can see here that we have films made by female directors around 18%. These are average numbers. When it comes to fiction, it's already slightly less, and animation even more so. In documentary, women filmmakers are still, of course, a minority, but a bigger group, and that has something to do with the fact that women traditionally have worked predominantly in documentary. And that has something to do with the funding structure. It is easier to receive funding, although funding as such is the actual amount is less than you would be able to apply for fiction films. And also many documentaries would be shown not in multiplex cinemas, would be also considered perhaps in terms of topical themes, part of counter cinema, feminist cinema, maybe ethnic minority cinema, which find their home in art house cinema. For example, here looking at Belfast Queen's Film Theatre would be a good example for that. And this is a place where women actually have always felt at home, because especially when it comes to a feminist approach to film, then the counter films are seeing themselves generally in opposition to mainstream cinema, to Hollywood cinema, to mass consumption cinema, which is being blamed, and in my view rightly so, as holding up the status quo when it comes to representation of females. Gender bias in the portrayals of women and girls are most dominantly found in traditional sets of Hollywood entertainment films as a commodity. And as we probably are all appreciate, these gender bias in the portrayals of women are among the most powerful tools of women's ideological oppression in their media that we find in media representation. So traditional images of women have contributed in no small way to this patriarchal hegemony, and cinema has been therefore instrumental in the repression of a female discourse. Films by directors of both genders refer to collaborative works and quite often also to cooperates, film cooperates. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. And that is where we see the finding of the latest Bechdel tests, which is the general conclusion of those Bechdel tests that have been applied to film. I think we are all aware of those tests created in 1985 by cartoonist Alison Bechdel. And the test, just as a reminder, asked three very plain and simple questions. First, are there at least two women in the film who have names? Second, do those women talk to each other? And thirdly, do they talk to each other about something other than men or some sort of romantic situation involving a man? And the very straightforward conclusion is that women are underrepresented in film, surprise, surprise, that racial minorities are underrepresented in films, and that white men are vastly overrepresented in films. So that's probably not such a big surprise for everybody. And if we take counter cinema films and documentaries and so forth apart, and specifically the feminist film category, then we still see that even though the past 50 years have seen a significant advance of women's living conditions and status in Western societies as a whole, the depiction of women on screen has unfortunately continued predominantly to adhere to those patriarchal stereotypes that are rather removed from reality. So gender stereotypes are still abundant, and a lack of diversity. Typical stereotypes that we would find here are that female characters are generally younger than their male counterparts and are more likely to be reduced to life-related roles such as the wife, the mother, or the girlfriend. Male characters outnumber female characters by more than 2 to 1 in films, and also, although women continue to be underrepresented in films, their disproportionate portrayal in more explicit sexual content has grown over time, with female characters now being twice as likely to be involved in sex scenes as male characters. And then also we see limited roles for older actresses, corresponding with men having a wider choice of characters. According to research, some 4,900, while women had just over 2,000 role and choices of characters offered to them. Similarly, male script writers still outnumber female script writers by 7 to 1. And that, of course, corresponds with the pay gap in the industry. Female directors in Europe and beyond were paid 23% less than their male counterparts. Obviously, we have some high earners. Angelina Jolie in Hollywood would be one of the key names, but it is still the case that in the big budget action films, for example, that they are more often offered to male directors than to female directors who would be offered lower budget films. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. There are initiatives to start redressing these imbalances, and we have them on EU level, European Union level, as well as on national levels of European countries. Initiatives have been introduced in support of female film projects, and I just put on some of them here on this slide, and by no means are these all of them. Lux Film Prize and the Creative Europe program by the European Commission, Your Images by the Council of Europe, and since 2016, where we have Voices of Women in Film, launched at the Sydney Film Festivals. These are some examples on a European-wide or EU level. But here are also some examples from the individual European countries. And again, this is not complete, obviously. 2007, the Spanish state has introduced a cinema law, Ley de Cine, that looks at equality and tries to ensure that equality is being observed, gender equality. We have the Sarajevo Gender Equality Declaration from 2015, 2018, the French media group 50/50 times 2020 initiated a pledge and program for gender parity and inclusion, at least in the cinema festivals of France. Ireland has implemented, the Irish Film Board has implemented measures to encourage female filmmakers to apply for funding. Certain funding has been put aside for female applications. British Film Institute even declared the intention of allocating 50% of public funding to women by 2020. I didn't come across the numbers, whether that has been achieved. And the adoption of the aforementioned Bechtel-Wallace test by national film and other funding boards is now becoming pretty much the norm. And although it is quite a simplistic test, it is quite interesting. So, for example, and the first step, I think, for example, in the year 2013, out of, what was it? Out of 50 top grossing films from 2013, only 17 met those three simple criteria, just to give you an idea. Because the Bechdel test has always been accused of being too simplistic, but even if you use this simplistic tool, you see that we have a huge lack here and gap between male and women's contributions to the top grossing films and generally film industry as well. So Europe wants to celebrate women. Europe wants to promote women's filmmaking, not just women in the production processes of film industry, but also producing or promoting an image, a more realist image of women on screen in the films, confident, strong women in various life situations. And we see, therefore, a rise in programs highlighting this virtuosity and strengths that we find in European cinema. And we also have a rise in the number of European feature films directed by women. Here, the year 2017 is our sample year. And we also have kind of newish genres, for example, the so-called female body film or the girlfriend flicks. So female body films, not maybe that new. If I remember films of the 90s in particular. The female body film means basically main characters are female and the plot focuses on their situations. And we have seen that recently, if I use big American multiplex best-selling films, Ocean's 8 would be a film to name in that context, or the 2016 remake of the Ghostbusters. And yeah, Thelma and Louise is probably for us older women quite well known as one of those films that showed some sort of feminist approach in Hollywood. The girlfriend films, not to be confused with the chick flicks, the girlfriend films emphasize the relationships between friends, female friends, instead of focusing on a love connection. For example, Charlie's Angels or Friends with Money would be recent examples. Then we have professional women in film networks rising, so women networking from the industry and also in academia, and this would be a very good example for that. That is on the rise. Women have finally realized, or should I say maybe have taken step in response to combat or to compete with the old boys network, because what we know is that half of film school graduates are in fact women who go on to have considerable success with short films and documentaries on the festival circuit and beyond. But when looking at who gets to make feature films, with the exception of few, women's names drop off the radar. And that is in part down to the culture of male bonding. Guys like to work with guys, which you might say is fair enough if they're using their own money. When it becomes problematic is when we have state funds involved, taxpayers' money that is being used to perpetuate a culture of inequality. So this is where particularly the professional women in film networks start to work against or response to. And then, of course, we have rewriting women back into the history of film and a risen academic interest in the history of women in filmmaking. And that is particularly interesting for people who teach film, either in courses that include applied filmmaking or indeed on a merely academic level. How am I doing for time, Leighanne? Can I go on?
If you could give 3 minutes
more. It's my last
more.
slide. It's my last slide. Is that okay?
Oh, that's totally fine. We'll have to get you back to something else.
Okay. So this is really just to give you an idea here, what I would like to see. We have here just a pick of my favorite hit list of filmmakers, Irish filmmaker Pat Murphy, who also taught, I believe, at Queen's, Margarete von Trotter, great German feminist filmmaker, Gorinda Chada, whom we probably all know from Bandit Like Beckham, Kirsten Sheridan, another younger Irish filmmaker, and Marlene Horris, Dutch filmmaker of my favorite film of all time, Antonia's Line, or Antonia's Wereld in its Dutch original, which Leighanne had to study in my final year module. And so why do I show you this? Because I think this is what we want to see more, because portrayals of women are much more realistic in movies directed by women. And that is one of the key finding of the research. Female directors frame female characters much more active and much more realistic, and thus positively. Roles for women have grown slowly, but leaving developed female characters far below proportionality. So what I want to see is less Dolce Vita, please. Look at this. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Less Dolce Vita, please, despite the fact that the film is a good film for many other reasons, but not for the representation, a fair representation of women. And more vita reale, real life narratives by women. That's what I wish will be the future look like. And we are on the way, but we are not quite there yet. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you for your interest and your attention.
Absolutely wonderful, Angela. That was a great taster into female representation in film, especially across Europe. I thought it was just fantastic. Thank you very, very much. I must go and rewatch Antonio's line sometime soon. It was very, very good to work on that with you. It was fantastic. So there's been a handful of questions in the chat. We're a little bit behind, so I might just pick one of them for now. And what I'll do is I'll send these to you separately. And what you can do is come back to us with a couple of answers. So let me see. Dun, 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 dun. I'll pick one here and I'll ask you to call it out. So I think it'll be nice if the person with the question actually asks the question. It's nice to get you involved. You can't listen to me all day. So in the chat, we have a question from Gillian Hilton. Gillian, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question if you don't mind?
Oh, hi. Thank you very, very much for that. It was extremely interesting. I'm working at the moment for BFWG on bias in the workplace against women. So that was absolutely fitted in perfectly to the stuff I've been working on and reading and hearing from people in all sorts of professions. But I haven't got a filmmaker so far to interview. But what I wanted to ask was, is there a difference in what kind of films men watch, and are they influenced by who directs it? Do they understand? Do they even care about who's directed a film? We tend to see a big blockbusters, and you get the film director mentioned, but not in very many other areas. So would men be put off, has anybody asked them, by a female director of a film?
Am I on? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, sorry. Thank you for that question. Yeah, a good question. And I have to say that I haven't looked into that particular research. And but just from my experience from, being a cinema buff and, as is my family, and talking with the students, male and female students in my third year module on representations of identities, which includes gender in film. I don't think that the majority of male cinema goers are actually bothered. But what I don't know is that because they assume that their films or the film choices they go to are made by film directors anyway. So they wouldn't even ask the question. I remember from the coverage in the media at the time when we had the Hurt Locker film by Catherine, what's her surname, Bigelow, which is a war film, an anti-war film, and full of violence, horrific war violence, and considered to be a classical war film genre, men kind of genre. And there was much surprise that a woman was actually able to make a film like that and got critical praise for it. So I think perhaps in a way that touches on the aim of your question. But I couldn't really back that up now with real research and figures. I think a lot of men would think, okay, Legally Blonde or what, that's probably made from a woman, which is not. And so these typical topics, where this film is about women and mothers and women stuff, that these films are made by women. Unfortunately, that is not so much the case, because then we would see more realistic pictures of women, because we are not either mothers or sex objects. We are both. We can do both.
Right. Thank you very much.
That was a great answer, Angela. Thank you so much. We actually have quite a few bits of chat going on. A few people are studying film and media and so on and so forth. So, Angela, feel free to dip into the chat if you have a bit of capacity in the event. I'm sure there'll be a bit of conversation there. And also, we'll send you across the questions if you want to come back to us, because I'm sure everyone wants a few answers. It's such a great topic. I love it. As soon as I hear anything about it, I want to hear more. So hopefully we'll hear from you again in the future. But I think what we'll do is probably move on to the next section, and we'll have our second speaker start, if that's okay. But wonderful. Thanks so much, Angela. Yes, very good. So our second speaker, to introduce our second speaker, I would like to welcome Dr. Máire O'Connell. She is Vice President of the IrFUW, and she will introduce our second speaker today.
Thank you very much, Leighanne. Are you all hearing me there?
Yes, very much so.
Good, good. So again, good morning, everybody. Yes, it is still morning in Ireland here. So we're a little bit later than everybody else. Just to say again, as our President Francis said, it's lovely to see so many people here today, to see so many long-standing friends that we haven't seen perhaps certainly for maybe a year or two at this stage, and also to welcome so many new UWE friends. As Francis and Leighanne have both explained, what we're doing today is celebrating European women. And you know, it struck me that very often the women, European women, Irish women, world women, work in the background. And what we want to do today is we want to highlight one individual woman, a woman of dedication, a woman who worked quietly, tirelessly, with immense enthusiasm and with a broad perspective in the background, and a woman whom we in the Irish Federation really believe needs to be celebrated. We're delighted here in the Irish Federation this morning. We're privileged, I should say, to ask Dr. Síghle Bhreathnach-Lynch to introduce that person to you. Síghle Bhreathnach-Lynch is an art historian. She has worked for very many years in art. She's former curator of Irish art in the National Gallery of Ireland in Dublin. She's lectured in art history and women's studies at University College Dublin, throughout the whole of Ireland, at New York's Metropolitan Museum, at Oxford University, and at the Princess Grace Irish Library on Monaco. And that's just to give you some slight indication of the breadth of what Síghle has done. She focuses on Irish 19th and 20th century art, painting and sculpture, and has written broadly and widely on that subject. Among her publications, and I should stress that it really is among her publications, there are books such as Expressions of Nationhood in Bronze and Stone, which deals with Albert Power, an Irish sculptor that I personally am very interested in, because he has done, among other things, a statue that is indigenous, if you like, if that's the word to use, here in Galway. The statue of one of our writers, Pádraig O'Connorra. She also has written 50 works of Irish art that you need to know, and Ireland's art, Ireland's history, representing Ireland from 1845 to the present. In addition to that, of course, Síghle has written extensively articles and other things. It's my privilege this morning to introduce to you Dr. Síghle Bhreathnach-Lynch. Back to you, Leighanne and Síghle.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Wow, very well written work from Síghle. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Síghle, we can see your screen now.
Yeah. Can you see me? No?
And we can indeed. Yes, I have mine on speaker view. So if everyone else could just mute themselves, we'll let you crack on.
Okay. Well, hidden away behind a rather unprepossessing two-storey shopping centre in Dunleary is this small structure. And what we're looking at is an oratory, in other words, a place for prayer and quiet reflection. And this is how it looked from 1919 until 1991. It was in the grounds of the local Dominican convent school. And when the school closed in 1991, it and the grounds were sold for development. The convent was gutted, the shopping centre was built in its place, and as part of that development, the oratory, by then in poor repair, was destined to be demolished. But thanks to a campaign spearheaded by, among others, our president, Michael D. Higgins, at that time he was the Minister for Arts, Culture and the Gaeltacht, the oratory was spared, it was repaired, and it was restored. So if you go along, this is, if you like, first view. The oratory itself is dedicated to the Sacred Heart. And as you can see with the statue there, it is actually full with brightly coloured motifs. I mean, from floor to ceiling, there isn't a space there at all. And in fact, it's a very small space. It's just over 5 metres by 3 metres. What is interesting is that as we explore the Oratory, you'll find that the majority are largely influenced by Irish artifacts from the Bronze Age right through to the early Christian period. So who painted it? It's none. Sister Concepta-Lynch from the Dominican order. She was christened Mary Bridget, but known as Lily. And as a child, she was not only gifted in art, but also music. Her father was Thomas Lynch, a well-known 19th century Celtic illuminator, and he ran a studio in Dublin city centre. And after school at the nearby Dominican convent Eccles Street, Lily used to go round to her father's studio, and from time to time, the two of them would go to visit Trinity College, Dublin, just literally to view the Book of Kells, which was then on view as it is now, with the idea of studying more deeply the art of earlier illuminators. Her father died in 1887. She ran the business successfully with relatives, and then she decided she'd enter the Dominican order in 1896. She was based in the convent in Dún Laoghaire, where she taught art, she taught Celtic illumination, she taught cello, and she taught piano. It would take her over 16 years from 1920 to work an average of maybe 5 to 6 days, 6 hours a day in her spare time to bring her project to near completion. She was there every day in unheated, poorly lit space, often working until her hand could no longer hold the brush. And when she was outlining the ceiling, this meant hours stretched on her back on scaffolding built by her for that purpose. She died in 1939 from breast cancer, and just a portion of the oratory was not completed, but enough to convey a satisfying impression of completeness. So let's go into the oratory. The first thing to be installed was, of course, the statue of the Sacred Heart. It had come from France. And the whole idea behind the oratory was that it was dedicated to the young men of Dún Laoghaire who died in World War I. And then stained glass windows were put in, and these came from the famous Harry Clarke studios in Dublin. But the design was studio design, not Harry Clarke personally. And then finally, Sister Concepta became involved. She was invited by the prioress of the convent to devise some kind of suitable decoration for the wall behind the statue. And the idea was to brighten up the oratory because, of course, there was nothing in it except the little stained glass windows and the statue. So this is the first area that she painted, and it is really notable for an imaginative ornamentation from a variety of sources. Now you can see what she does. She paints 3 arcades to frame the Sacred Heart figure. Here we have the middle one, and then we have the inner one. And if you look, you think there's actually an alcove behind the statue. But in fact, it's what they call in art trompe-l'œil, because it's just an illusion. That wall is completely flat. But with the use of gold paint, she was able to create the illusion of light coming from behind the Christ as well as in front. And what's interesting is the way in which she uses motifs from other art forms. For instance, the central arcade here is really based on Greek and Roman architecture, because what we're looking at are stylized Corinthian columns. And then in the area between the inner and the middle arcade, we have just this wonderful collection of little small shapes which she painted. They are reminiscent of traditional tesserae. And also you can see little stylized blooms here throughout. And these recall an enclosed garden of paradise, the hortus conclusus, feature in European medieval art. This is the altar table, absolutely magnificent. because she, sorry, I have to the wrong, yeah, here we are now. She, sorry, just mixing up my, sorry, sorry, 1, 2. Now the altar table, yeah, the altar table is for all the world like an elaborate oriental silk rug. It is absolutely fabulous. It has delicate tesserae patterning, and then you can see at the edge she uses really strong contrasting dark border interlacing. And then just right in the center here is a beveled cross of blue and gold. And the whole thing is just quite extraordinary looking. You really can't take your eyes off it. And you forget that you're looking at something that's just simply painted on a flat surface. Before we go on to explore the oratory further, I want to show you or demonstrate to you the method that Sister Concepta used in working in the oratory, because it's quite unique. Before each area was painted, she would draw elements of the decoration on old window blinds or paper. Then she'd cut them out for use and they become stencils. Then, having satisfied herself with the design of that particular stencil and where she thought it should go and what colours ought to be used, she enlarged the designs on the actual walls, freehand. There was no geometric instruments used at all here. And the other point of using stenciling meant that she could duplicate her motifs, creating a wonderful mirror effect in the oratory, and you'll see that for yourselves. Now remember, she was in an enclosed order, so other people, including students, had to go and buy the paint that she needed from the local hardware stores. So what kind of paints was she using? Well, ordinary household emulsion. She'd write down the exact specifications as to which colours she wanted and how they were to be mixed. And then this kind of paint was very easy to just paint on a dry plaster wall. And what kind of colours did she use? Well, she really liked a blend, if you like, of strong colours and then balanced by muted colours. So she favoured strong shades of reds, of greens, of blues, reds, greens, oranges, yellows and white. And then she would use more muted shades of brown, blue, purple, pale pink. And as you can see, you have gold paint used sparingly throughout. But the results demonstrate really an unerring understanding of colour. Final thing that is crucially important in remembering about this artist is that she consciously linked her art of illumination right back to its original roots in early Irish Christian art in the monasteries. And she believed that the art of painting should be devotional in nature. Now, I want to get back to the side walls. So if you look at this wall, you'll find that if you turn your back and you look at the other wall, you're looking, it's a complete mirror image. And this somehow creates a kind of unity. So it does. As you can see, this wall is just filled with an astonishing array of designs. You have very elaborate interlacing throughout. Then you have motifs that go actually back as far as prehistoric art, Neolithic art. You have then a big cross on either wall. Then you have these strange birds. Then you have these two figures who are just simply looking at each other. And then down here, she's painted arcades. So just look at one or two of the motifs here. Let's look at this one. This is the cross. As you can see, it's loosely based on the 12th century processional cross of Cong. And the symbolism of the cross in the decorative scheme is twofold. The cross and the circle represent Christ's victory over death, while acting as a reminder of Christ as a saviour, of course, to whom the oratory is dedicated. The most visible references to the Book of Kells are these, and I'll just show you a close-up of them. This is her version of a motif directly from the Book of Kells. And as you can see, what we have here is a man who's just sitting there in a nonchalant fashion while some creature is eating into him. And these are kind of humorous elements that she uses actually throughout the decoration. This frieze is absolutely wonderful. Now we've looked at the walls. There are you see the bead and reel there. Again, a reference to kind of classical architectural motifs. There are the walls, and now we have the frieze between the walls and the ceiling. And on the frieze, you can see that there are interlocking beasts the whole way across. There are birds who peck and squawk at each other. There are snakes who seem to hiss at each other. And altogether, when you look up, you have a real sense of movement, and you can practically hear the racket. The one point, though, on that ceiling, which really is quite superb, is this. This is directly over the altar itself. It is a totally original zoomorphic figure. And what we have is a rather threatening golden scale bird. And in Christian iconography, a crouched cat with his head looking over his shoulder symbolized the resurrected Christ. But the Oratory cat is different. It's metamorphosed into a kind of spooky creature. Its back is wholly arched. As you can see, I would suggest gold leaf was used there. And a beautiful swirling pattern then fills the space beneath the curved body. And then you can see it's flanked by two pelicans. And they are kind of in magnificent plumage of red, purple, and gold. And in this oratory, they represent the charity of the risen Christ. Now, what's interesting about the oratory is that you have use of pelicans used throughout in all kinds of places. And in ancient lore, this bird was believed to feed its young with its own blood. And in Christian iconography, it represents Christ's crucifixion, which in turn symbolizes sacrifice, charity, and piety. So the two pelicans here are very dramatic, and they act kind of as sentries to the entrance. Here we see the door, the entrance, the inner entrance of the oratory. Final area that she painted was the ceiling, and at this stage she was quite ill, so it remained unfinished. It is her final, as I say, her final contribution, but it's very different in mood. Certainly from the frieze, you can see that what she's done is she's made a very graceful arrangement of linear decoration and some gold leaf here. And what it's doing is evoking the heavenly light of the next world. So suggesting a kind of direct link between the little oratory in Dún Laoghaire and heaven itself. And this, of course, was painted, lying flat on the scaffold. Now, I want to end my talk by placing the painting of the oratory within the context of the Celtic revival and Irish culture and nationalism, a movement in which all of the arts, consciously from the 19th century, sought to produce a distinctive Irish culture, different from that of Great Britain. And so if you think back to literature and drama, we think immediately of poets like W.B. Yeats, John Millington Synge, the dramatist, and they both looked to Irish sources, mythology, folklore, and storytelling traditions for inspiration. And then, of course, you have the rise of negative arts. So you have here the Dún Guild and you have An Túr Glynne. Now these industries were involved in recreating Celtic motifs found in ancient manuscripts, in metalwork, on sculpted crosses. In other words, an art form originating in a pre-conquest past that challenged the cosmopolitan styles very much associated with Britishness. In painting, certainly from the beginning of the 20th century, we have celebration particularly of the west of Ireland. And I can see this blue mark there, it doesn't matter. And here we have Oliver Shepherd, who is a sculptor who really sourced mythology. And here is his Death of Cuchulainn, which of course you can now see in the General Post Office. And from being the Death of Cuchulainn, it's now considered to be a symbol of the new Ireland. But by the 1920s, there was a reaction against the overuse of Celtic ornamentation. And it was now reasoned that restoring forms characteristic of ancient Ireland didn't automatically ensure a quality native art. And you had prominent art critics like Thomas Bodkin referring to these motifs as shamrockery. And then there were others who believed that illuminators were people who were just handy with the pen. But Sister Concepta, and you see this in her charts for her students studying illumination, she emphasized the role of the intellect in the actual physical process of producing this kind of work, because in her estimation, Celtic art wasn't just a mechanical discipline. It was an intellectual one and it was a spiritual one. And you can see that kind of reaction against what was called shamrockery already. First coinage designs of the Irish Free State, the harp was the only thing that was retained on it, and they went for animals and fish and bird instead. And then, of course, from 1940s on, certainly post-war, you have her art just came to signify an outdated form of nationalism. And not surprisingly, many of the histories of art which were produced from that time through the 60s, 70s and into the 80s reflected this view. And so her particular contribution was generally ignored. The emphasis had now become establishing connections between Irish fine art and the art of the continent. And hence artists like Mamie Jellett and Jack B. Yeats were promoted in the histories of art because, of course, their easily identified modernist tendencies towards abstraction in the case of Jellett and painterly expressionism in the case of Yeats was now being more and more appreciated. And also this kind of art provided, if you like, concrete links to what was preserved or perceived as the centre of European art, which was French, Italian, Spanish and 17th century Dutch art. So it could be argued then that Ireland's visual history was now in the main outward looking and sophisticated enough to belong to the great canon of Western European art. In comparison, the art of Sister Concepta linked to an Irish Ireland seemed very parochial and peripheral. But of course, art tastes change over the decades. And in the case of Sister Concepta, it took 4 or 5 decades to be appreciated. But 2 years ago, in October, 100 years exactly after the Oratory had been built, the borough of Dún Laoghaire decided to celebrate her art in a very conspicuous way. So this book, lavish with gorgeous illustrations, was published. There were lots of talks. There was a seminar organised throughout the month of October, and special visits were organised to go to the Oratory itself. So finally, when you've gone back to the National Gallery, of course, which has reopened, and always remember it's free, the next thing to do is to go visit this lovely Oratory. There are tours on during the summer. And what it does is it offers a unique journey into the art of the distant past, its renewal in the Celtic revival. But above all, to me anyway, it reveals one woman's spiritual commitment through the prism of the visual. It's an aesthetic experience to be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was super interesting and really visual. It was great to see the colours, the methods, the techniques, and the thought of relying on her back on scaffolding to finish that. Some woman, that's all I can say. That's fantastic. We have a handful of questions here for you, if you wouldn't mind answering them, Síghle. I will ask, let's see who we have. We have Grace. Grace, you have a question there in the chat. Would you like to ask your question to
Yeah,
Síghle?
okay, thank you. Thank you, Síghle. That was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I was wondering about the Oratory. I know that they celebrated it spectacularly, as you say, after 100 years, but in the interim, how well was it managed or looked after? I suppose, how well was she considered, really? And secondly, those large wooden doors, which I presume are not original, did they displace any of the artwork when they were being installed?
No, what happened was when the little oratory was taken over by the Office of Public Works, they actually very carefully built a capsule around the whole little building, and then they absolutely restored all the paintwork and repaired everything and added a new floor and the doors. And so it was done actually with huge care. But the problem was, of course, that it was only really the people on the committee and a few others who really appreciated her art at that stage. A former director, assistant director of the National Gallery, Brian Kennedy, he was one of those people, and he was instrumental in getting the Dominican order to give all her charts and everything else to the National Gallery as a collection. And it's really only from, I'd say but from the late 1980s, you see the Borough of Dún Laoghaire offering these guided tours, and then it just seems to gather momentum. So that nowadays, particularly in Dún Laoghaire, everybody knows her, but of course she still has to be, I suppose, shared with people who come actually from the United States, from England, from France, and so on. So that's the story.
Great, thank you, Síghle. Thank you.
Fantastic, thanks so much. We do have time for another question, but they're coming in thick and fast. That was clearly very interesting. So I'll just pick one more if that's okay. How about Daria Turan? Would you mind unmuting yourself and asking your question today?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to ask, when this is a Christian oratory, but this the decorations are so Celtic, and do these Celtic decorations bring any information, any symbolism? How does these two, Christian symbolism and Celtic symbolism, combine?
Yes, they do, because the early Christian art in Ireland, be it sculpture, manuscript, the motifs we used that were already available from, say, Newgrange, right back to Neolithic times. And so in a sense, that kind of art, Neolithic, Bronze Age art, was used, but it just transformed into a kind of a Christian motif. So it did.
Fantastic. Thanks for explaining that, Síghle. Brilliant. We are slightly short on time, so I'm keen to maybe let's move on slightly, but there are a wealth of questions in there. I know that there's been chats for Angela. There's some in there for you, Síghle. Feel free to engage in the chat if you can. Any that haven't been answered, we'll try to gather them at the end and give them over, and you can give us some answers and we'll share them with everyone that attended. I think it'd be nice to do a little wrap up because there's loads of questions in there. So fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Síghle. If you could unshare your screen, that's us. And let me see, where are we on our agenda? Oh, fantastic. We are about to enter. So we're completed with our speakers technically for today. We are now about to move on a section called A Taste of Ireland. So I do hope that you have all been reading the recipes and possibly prepared in advance, but I'll say no more because we have two people that will go through a demonstration for you. And I have the lovely Martina Mulrine from Trinity Women Graduates, who would like to introduce this next segment. So Martina, please feel free to unmute yourself and go on ahead and start the instructions.
Thank you, Leighanne. Hello, everyone. I would like to introduce Veronica Campbell and Felix Campbell, who will share with you an introduction to our wonderful Irish food culture. Veronica is co-founder of the Campbell family's food and beverage business. Their flagship cafe, Bewley's, on Dublin's Grafton Street, is beloved of Irish people, tourists and visitors to Ireland, not least for its delicious, freshly roasted coffee. This very special cafe also is of great historical and architectural significance and represents part of Dublin's heritage. We congratulate Veronica and the Campbell family on Bewley's recent award as one of the 50 most beautiful cafes in the world. Veronica is a past president of Trinity Women Graduates in Dublin and a committed, active and energetic contributor and supporter at all levels of the Women Graduates organisation. Felix Campbell is Veronica's grandson and represents the third generation of their business. Felix is currently a student of International Hospitality Management. And so it is with great pleasure that I hand you over firstly to Veronica.
Thank you, Martina.
Yeah, you're on.
Are we on? Okay. Our cafe is the flagship of our tea and coffee business, and it's what represents our brand. The brand was established in 1840, so it's a very, very old brand. The cafe is very big and historic, and it would be like the grand European cafes, which I'm sure some of our members are familiar with on mainland Europe. Because the brand is so old, like it has changed over the years, and it's important for us to renew it all the time to capture the younger people coming in. And during the pandemic, we did some work on analysing the brand and what our customers want and what type of food they want. And the results of that research was that people love it, but they want us to stay traditional, but they want traditional with a twist. So I suppose the twist is what gathers in the younger members. And it's a big challenge, and we work on it all the time, and we've developed some really exciting recipes, and I'm sure that we really look forward to executing them when the cafe reopens again. We're still in pandemic mode here in Dublin. The family have been involved in Bewley's since 1986, and one of our, I suppose, targets of what we would do with the business was that we would become 100% sustainable and buy fair trade coffee. It has taken us up to 5 years ago to do that. So we're very proud that all our coffee is sustainable and fair trade. And fair trade is really, really important for the people. It's important for us because we feel that we're giving back. Also, it's important to the farmers that farm in a sustainable way. And one of my favorite co-ops is in Nicaragua, and a group of our business go out every year to visit various, I suppose, farms and that. And my one closest to my heart is in Nicaragua, and it's run by a really wonderful woman called Fatima. And the coffee is amazing. They're just little suppliers, and they feed into Fatima. She processes it, and they market it themselves, and it is so empowering. And when you think of it, like Nicaragua is a very patriarchal society, so for her to have achieved what she's achieved is really, really remarkable. And because fair trade, they get an extra bonus for being fair trade, and that means that they can put the money back into the communities. And one of the things that they've done in this particular co-op is that they have built a great school for the children, but it's also safe, so they have to have guards on it so that children can learn in a safe environment. But also the families have been paid to send their children to school because there's a lot of child labour. So if the children aren't at school, they'd be working on the farms or whatever. So it's really, really, really important. There's a few other ones that I'd like to mention. Is that there's one in Peru, which have used their money to put in health awareness schemes and breast cancer testing and things like that. So the extra money really means an awful lot to the farmers. It's a win-win because we get excellent coffee. They're so caught up in producing good coffee for us, and then they get the extra premium to spend on their communities and grow their communities and invest in their farms. When Felix is demonstrating the coffee, Irish coffee, you will see that he is using actually coffee from Patton's co-op. So it is it's a really, really good story. So with that, I think I'll ask Leighanne to roll the little video. We did a little video in the cafe. We both cringed when we both cringed when we look at it. But we do a little talk about the Irish coffee and the bread. So thank you, Leighanne.
Well, thank you very much, Veronica and Felix. I have seen this little video already, and it's just so cute. It's lovely. Everything's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen, and I will play the video for everyone to watch. If everyone could stay muted, it'd be great just to help the sound quality. So give me 2 ticks, and I'll bring this up for you all.
When we think traditional Irish food, I suppose what comes to mind would be dishes like Irish
Can't hear.
Can't hear.
Of course, it's me, the host, that has the technical issues. All our guests are fantastic. Give me 2 seconds and I'll try that again for you. It's so nice. You don't want to miss a word of it. It's just so lovely.
When we think traditional Irish food.
Okay. New share. Film 2. And Clarice, you give me a nod if this is okay?
I suppose what comes to mind would be dishes like Irish stew, bacon and cabbage, black pudding, brown bread. Bread was always made at home, and I suppose different families developed little recipes and they were treasured as family secrets. We found it very hard to get my mother's secret out of her because she never measured anything, and she'd say, well, it's a glug of this, a handful of this, and a spoon of the other. And no matter how hard we tried, we really found it hard to define it, but her bread was always absolutely delicious. When I think of my own grandmother, and I remember her making brown bread in a skillet pot over an open fire with sods of turf on the top to give top and bottom heat. And it too was always delicious. During the pandemic, a great interest rose again in making bread. The recipe that I've given you, I've adopted it from a recipe by Dorina Allen of the Ballymaloe Cookery School. Dorina created this recipe, which she said was very simple to make for people who weren't used to bread making. It was foolproof and absolutely delicious. If you're ever down in Cork, it's be well worth your while taking a little detour to Ballymaloe. It's a gem of a place. There's a wonderful country house hotel, the cookery school, which runs long and short courses, the farm and the farm shop. You could spend a very happy day there. Myrtle Allen, who would be Doreena's late mother-in-law, was at the forefront of our current revival in Irish food. She was a great advocate of promoting Irish, local, fresh and in season. Our Irish food is now cutting edge. It's exciting, delicious. We have wonderful young chefs and foodies driving out really, really great food. I know personally that we're all looking forward to having delicious meals out again when the pandemic is over. I'll finish off now by just showing you our lunch for Felix and myself. Yeah. And we look for, the one on the right is the smoked salmon on the avocado, and on the left is the cream cheese, fresh tomato and basil leaves. And we're looking forward to sharing lunch with you when you're having your lunch.
All right.
Okay, and now I'll hand you over to Felix, who's going to tell you a little about the history of Irish coffee and how to make it. Over to you, Felix.
Thank you very much, Gima. Hello and welcome, graduates. Today I'm going to run, as Gima said, run through the history and the process of making an Irish coffee. We serve the coffee here in the cafe and we make it all at table, so it's a bit theatric. I've done this process over 100 times and I truly enjoy doing it. It's one of my personal favourite drinks and I hope you guys will enjoy it too. So for the whiskey, I'm using our Jameson whiskey, which is one of the most popular whiskies here in Ireland, our coffee, brown sugar and Jersey cream. A little bit on the coffee, this is from a women's co-op in Nicaragua, which we then bring over and roast in Ireland ourselves. So to start off, we're going to throw in our brown sugar. Then we'll top it off with our hot coffee. Now, when we do this, we're just going to give it a little bit of a stir to make sure the sugar granules dissolve. While it's still moving, we're going to throw in our shot of Jameson. And to top it off, we're going to throw on our cream. Now, when pouring the cream, you need to be careful, as if it's too thick, it will all fall into the coffee and it will be a disaster. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the spoon upside down like so, and in we go like so. There we are. And to top it off, we'll garnish it with 3 coffee beans just for Instagram. And there we have it, our Irish coffee. Now, a little bit of history on the Irish coffee. It was created in the 1940s in the west of Ireland, an airport called Foynes Airport, where passengers were left cold, miserable and stranded. The chef of the restaurant in the airport decided to cheer everyone up, cheer their spirits with spirits, as I like to say, with a lovely concoction. The story goes the name came from an American passenger who asked the chef, "Is this Brazilian coffee?" He replied, "No, it's an Irish coffee." From then on, both passengers and the drink took off. Thank you very much, graduates. I hope you enjoy your Irish coffees and your wonderful lunch. Okay.
And there we are. Wasn't that just lovely? It's so nice to see. I really can't wait to get down to the cafe at some point when the pandemic gets better. So Veronica and Felix, thank you so much for that. It was just wonderful. I learned a lot about the Irish coffee in particular. I have a habit of throwing the cream in and it just falls to the bottom. Now I know what to do. As a spoon, who knew? So yes, that's fantastic. I'm just checking if we have any exceedingly nice comments. I'm sure we have a few in the chat. Yep, so there's a few people have made their little bread and their sandwich, have some avocado and salmon. not too many Irish coffees at this hour, especially for the Irish ones. I guess it's only midday, so it's probably a no-no, but I will be having one if I'm honest. So yes, I'm very excited for that. That was just wonderful, and I wish you all the best. I really look forward to getting down to the cafe when it reopens, and I'm sure a lot of us will go down. A lot of thanks coming in that chat. Can
I give you a story? From the Netherlands. First time I visited Ireland was in 1964 in the region of Galway. We had a botanical excursion and we were very disappointed. We couldn't get any Irish coffee anywhere. And we discovered why, because the pubs didn't serve coffee, and where you could get a coffee, they didn't have the whiskey. So what we discovered was you go to a hotel with a bar and then you get the coffee in the lounge and then you take the coffee to the bar and then get the whiskey there.
Very good.
Very good.
No way. Right. That's fantastic. It's almost a shame not to be able to get an Irish coffee in Galway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
Now it's very different. I mean, you can get Irish coffee everywhere because now, but in 1964, even the girls were not actually, girls or women were not allowed in pubs really. Yeah. So we only got in because we were foreign. So we told them we were from the Netherlands and then we wanted to go to the pub and the girls would also want to go to the pub. So that was it. We could get in and I loved the singing.
Very good. Well, you're in for a treat after our comfort break, Annalise. Yes, so Felix, Veronica, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
What we're going to do now is we are at that stage of our program today where we can take a 5-minute comfort break ahead of our lunchtime entertainment. Now, the lunchtime entertainment is some music, it is some singing, it is lovely. You don't want to miss it. So I also don't want you just having to nip up and go away. So please feel free now to take 5 minutes. If you could come back by then, it'd be great. Grab your coffee if you have it, bring your lunch back, feel free to have it and enjoy the entertainment afterwards. There's no need to leave the Zoom. What you can do is simply mute your mic or turn off your camera if you so wish. But we're going to take a 5-minute comfort break. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Hello, we'll just give everyone a little minute or two to come back. A few people are rejoining us as well.
I'm afraid to unmute myself or you'll hear me chewing.
Oh. You're enjoying the food.
Leighanne, can you hear me now? Yeah, I don't have Felix skill, I'm afraid. I let my cream sink in the coffee, so I'll have to go to Bewley's and get them to show me how to do it properly.
You are not alone, Máire. Find my lovely clear glasses. So I have created a cardinal sin of coffee, and it's in a mug. So we'll not go there. And Claire Louise as well. So she's using a vegan cream substitute.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It didn't go down very well either. It just sank.
Yeah. Well, mine sank totally. So, Veronica, I will be into Bewley's to check with Felix.
Make sure it's a Bewley's.
We'll all be into Bewley's, I think.
We just need a lot more practice.
Yeah. Susie, you're dead right. And listen, congratulations on this morning's purchase of whiskey. Did you really go out to buy whiskey this morning?
I did, because I only have Scotch in the house.
Oh,
so I have to wait until 10 o'clock and then run back.
Oh, Susie, you're brilliant. You're brilliant.
Absolutely.
But I too don't have a glass, so I've got it in a mug.
Okay.
I'm sure the sunken coffee will taste lovely anyway.
It does. It tastes great, Peg. It does, yeah.
I love that glass, Máire. We had glasses like that. I worked for Belfast Pottery.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And Belfast had those glasses, and on the side of the glass, it used to say, "Here's your milk, your coffee, and your cream, and so on and so forth." And I still couldn't do it properly. So,
well, I don't drink coffee because it disagrees with me, although I love it. So I decided on a French rosé instead. So.
Oh, well done, Síghle. You deserve it.
So here's to everybody.
Sláinte.
Sláinte, indeed.
Oh, it's very good indeed. Did anybody make the bread?
No, I bought mine.
I'm afraid I bought mine as well.
I made it and I can vouch for it. It's delicious.
Is it?
Well done, Martina. Well done.
I couldn't resist some at breakfast time either.
Oh.
It smells lovely as well when you bake it in the house. It's just so nice.
It's lovely.
It's an excellent recipe. It's an excellent recipe and very easy to make.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Mind you, I loved the stories about the hot bricks over and under the skillet.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We have a few people that jumped out, or a few people that are actually joining a little bit late. You know, they need more things today. So I'm just adding a few people to the group.
Oh, great.
And we'll give everybody a minute.
Okay, brilliant.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah. Mind you, it will be great to get back to Bewley's. It really will. Seeing that we're allowed to move now throughout the whole country. And when they open.
Real sense of freedom now to be able to move.
Absolutely.
It's just so nice. I'll be trying to get a few wee trips in, hopefully.
Yeah.
So how are we looking? Let's have a look at all our
Have we
attendees.
lost everybody?
Okay. Oh, no, lots of bums on seats now.
Great.
No.
Then there's an empty page of just names. There we are. Yeah, so if everyone's back on their seats and they're here and they're participating, if you want to put your camera on to be social, it would be lovely. I'm able to scroll through and just see everyone. It's just lovely. It's so nice. Some interesting backgrounds. I see Mary Horkins on the beach.
You are joking. How did Mary manage that?
Well, maybe cruise side would be what I'd describe it as.
Mary.
Let's see. There's a few
I
other
have a
things.
son who's a bit of a genius with computers. So whenever I go on this, to hide the chaos behind me, I want to get this wonderful scene. And I come off feeling as if I've been on holiday. Lovely to see everybody. Lovely to be back with meeting UWE friends. Terrific.
It is. It's great.
Lovely. Yeah.
The scene behind me is the one that I look out on from my apartment.
Oh, lovely, Jen.
That's nice. Yeah. Lovely.
With the rainbow as well. It's beautiful. Oh, love a good background. Fortunately, it's raining where I am today. I wouldn't get a very nice picture.
There's a bit of sun coming out.
It's trying.
You can see a little bit of sun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
I do comment from Susie there. I'm trying to get in and read it. I have my alter ego, Minnie the Minx, as my off video picture. Of course, Minnie is from Dundee.
We had a lovely meeting in Dundee a couple of years ago. It was brilliant. Susie will remember that very well, obviously, and all the...
Yes, yeah, it was lovely.
Brilliant.
I was so sorry yours had to be delayed. And thank you so much for putting this online one. But we will get to Dublin eventually. Yeah.
Oh, you will. Oh, look, we look forward to welcoming you all. We have to do it. We have to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
And what Susie said, in fact, we've even got a little bit of sun coming out in Dundee. I'll show everyone. There we go. Bit of sun here today in honor of the meet and greet.
Ah, lovely, especially for us.
The sun shines on the righteous.
There you go, Patrice.
The sun shines on the righteous.
There you go.
We just had the oratory, so.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. So where are we at now? I'll take a quick look at everybody.
Was there a question from Máire there about
her cream sinking?
Her cream sinking?
It was, Felix. I really let myself down. Look at it.
Oh, God. Oh, disaster. So possibly if you don't whip the cream enough. So you can't have it whipped cream, but you can't have it pure liquid cream. So you need to give it a little bit of a shake before you do. So that it's just after gone from liquid to whipped, and then you can pour it in.
Okay.
It still won't flow behind it.
Because I thought when, years ago, I thought we used to pour just liquid cream, over the back of the spoon.
Shake the carton a little bit.
Okay.
Not proper whipped or anything, no machines, just shake the carton a little bit.
Shake the carton. Okay. Yeah. I'll know next time.
You'll have to have another now.
Absolutely. Yes, true.
You need another invitation.
I'll come and visit at the cafe because I still have my voucher for my Dublin plane ticket from last week.
Oh, there you go.
There you are.
When are you going to open up again?
Oh, we're not sure now. Hopefully 7th of June.
Okay.
7th of June. Well, that's okay. You don't do delivery. Do you do delivery?
No, unfortunately not yet. No delivery yet. Just we do click and
that would be
collect.
the way forward.
Yeah.
Annalise, can you let us know when you're coming?
Oh, I will.
Please, yeah. We might have a little get together, a few of the members.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes, it'd be lovely if you come in into Bewley's.
Yeah.
We could have a meet up in Bewley's, okay? Yeah.
It'd be really good.
We just got the message that the island is yellow, so it's not orange anymore, so you can go for holidays even, not just necessary travel.
We've no flights.
Well, may I speak, please?
Ireland is yellow.
May I speak, please? Please? May I speak, please?
Yes.
Yes. The Irish coffee looks so nice that I would like to have it an Irish coffee made by Irish hands. And I hope that it's done once. Thank you.
I really appreciate when you said that the best recipe was from Ballymaloe, because when I was 13 or 14, I've been vacation Ballymaloe at that place.
Ballymaloe.
Oh. It was incredible.
It's wonderful.
2 or 3 with very good friend of my parents. They were my English parents, and we've been there in vacation. It was incredible. And so it's now, I've seen on internet that it is bigger and bigger, but for me, it was the beginning. It was incredible.
It's
so
wonderful.
I'm very pleased of what you said. I'm sure that I'm going in 1 or 2 years back to Ballymaloo.
Yeah, very good.
Brilliant.
Bewley's and Ballymaloo, and you're sorted.
Very good. Oh, that was such great chat. I'm glad everyone was able to have a quick comfort break. We seem very refreshed, which is lovely, especially for such a long Zoom meeting. So you're all right here with us. It's great to see. I think we should get started again and get right into our entertainment, because you're probably halfway through the coffee, already halfway through that soda. So what we'll do is we'll get going. So the first thing I want to say is, if you have a drink, whatever it is, rosé, coffee, water, I just want to say, sláinte. Cheers. And I would like to now present to you a video from the former president of UCD, Margaret Watchorn, who will happily introduce our lunchtime entertainment. So once again, I'll be presenting, so just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to mute everybody if that's okay, just to keep the sound quality as it should be. Perfect. So I'm over here, and great. Okay, and give me 2 seconds to get this settled, and I'll press play.
Good morning, ladies. Welcome to our ladies, our girls.
Okay. And can everyone see the screen okay? I believe so. I'm going to hit play and we'll test the sound.
Good morning, ladies. Welcome to our ladies, our girls, our women, and especially to our new NFAs from Russia and Lithuania, I believe. My pleasant duty today is to introduce our entertainment, our musical entertainment for you. And I just want to say a couple of words about Irish music. It comes from... Good morning, ladies. Welcome to our ladies, our girls, our women, and especially to our new NFAs from Russia and Lithuania, I believe. My pleasant duty today is to introduce our entertainment, our musical entertainment for you. And I just want to say a couple of words about Irish music. It comes from a tradition of being passed on from performer to performer, learned by heart, not by written music at all. And it incorporates different instruments like the fiddle or violin, the wooden flute, percussion, baron, accordion. I think that's all I can think of at the moment. And as I said, it was handed down and learned personally, person to person. And music was a very central part of Irish life, because it encapsulated all the different traditions and the stories and the origins and the events and the people for a community. So it is very, very important. So I hope you enjoy our recital today by Colette Grant, who's going to sing some Irish songs, and Sophie O'Neill, who's going to play the flute. Thank you very much, and I hope you do enjoy it.
Thank you very much for that video, Margaret, and that great introduction. I am going to now play the video from Colette Grant.
Hello, I'm Colette Grant from UCD, Women Graduates Association here in Dublin, and I'm going to sing 2 songs for you, 2 Irish songs. The first is O Men from the Fields, which is a cradle song. The poem is by Pádraig Colum, and it is set to music by Herbert Hughes. My second song is a completely different style. It's Wee Hughie. The poem is by Elizabeth Shane, and it's composed by John F. Larche. And Michael, my husband, is accompanying me on the local church organ.
Softly, oh
he's gone to school with UWE, and him not for. Sure I saw the fright was in him when he left the door, but he took a hand o' Denny and a hand o' Dan, with jewels and coat upon him. Och, the poor wee man. He cut the queerest figure most out nor thin, and trotting right and steady with his toes turned in. I watched him to the corner of the big turf stack, and the more his feet went forward, still his head turned back. The more his feet went forward, still his head turned back. He was looking, would I call him? Och, my heart is woe. Sure it's lost I am without him, but he be to go. I followed to the turning when they passed it by. God help him, he was crying, and maybe so was I.
Wasn't that just lovely? Colette's voice is just so beautiful. And thank you to her and her husband as well. He is there playing the organ alongside her. Instead of taking a quick break, I'm just going to keep sharing my screen here. And I'm going to now play a video by Sophie O'Neill. She's playing the flute absolutely beautifully. So once again, I'm going to change the next video. And
Hi,
hopefully we can all hear and see this.
I'm going to be playing two Irish tunes for you today. The first tune that I'm going to be playing is called the Coolin. It's a slow Irish air from around the 17th century. There are two main Irish texts that go with this tune, and there are lots of English translations of those texts. So just to give you an idea of what this tune is about, I'm going to read out one of the English translations of the first verse. In lots of these translations, they actually don't translate some Irish words, but rather write them in English phonetically so that you can easily pronounce them. Oh, have you seen the Coolin walking down the Cuckoo's Street, with the dew of the meadow shining on her milk-white twinkling feet? My love she is, and my Colleen Ogue, as she dwells in Laoghaire, and she bears the palm of beauty bright from the fairest that in Erin are. So the words that aren't translated there are Colleen Ogue, which means young girl, and Erin, which means Ireland. So it seems to be a love song. next tune that I'm going to play for you is a little bit more upbeat. It's an old Irish jig, which is a type of Irish dance called the Kesh, and the Kesh is a place in County Fermanagh. So traditionally jigs would be played on an Irish wooden flute, and it would give a more wooden, rough sound to it than what I'm playing today. Thank you.
Wasn't that just fantastic? Honestly, thank you very much to Colette Grant. What a beautiful, beautiful voice. And thank you so much to Sophie O'Neill. Wonderful. That little jig at the end, I think, just really lifted everybody. It's just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'm just going to read out a couple of the comments in the chat because it would just be so rude not to put on your lovely comments for them. So like, stunning Colette, thank you. Very emotional, isn't that lovely? Oh, wonderful. Colette, stunning singing, thank you. Just such lovely comments. What a wonderful song, an amazing voice. Oh, wonderful. It's great to have all these, you know. Just so nice, amazing. Yes, and thank you so much. I think that was just so nice. A little taste of Irish music and some wonderful singing, and I hope it really accompanied your food and drink today. Absolutely. It's nice to have both together. So yeah, that was our entertainment segment. Again, thanks everyone, cheers, and thank you for joining in that lovely piece of entertainment. I think it was just fantastic. Just delighted myself. Brilliant. So we're going to move on to our last section. It is our UWE AGM update by Finland, followed by our UWE Young Member reports. So this is just a section to give us all a bit of an update, how things are going, and give the spotlight on some of our members. So we have Lithuania, Russia, and Trinity College Dublin, given some reports following that. But I think firstly, it would be great if we could hand over to Finland. That would be lovely.
Okay, thank you. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
This should be the one. Can you see this?
Yes.
Let's see if I can put it on the different mode, like this. So my name is Paulina Inervo, and I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on ahead.
Yeah, okay, great. So I am presenting you the programs we are going to share with you in September in Finland, the UWE conference and AGM meeting, and also give an update for you about the Erasmus Plus project we are having. So this presentation is summarized by me and Kirsi Jokikokko, Roxana Petrescu, Susanna Sulkunen, and Anne Turunen. So we are going to have interesting days in Finland, or mainly, unfortunately, online from September 8th till September 13th. Part of this may be live, most of the days will be held online. So first, the Erasmus meeting, that will be taking place in September 8th till 10th, meaning from Wednesday till Friday. And what we are doing there will be around 20 people gathered together, the team we are having in this project. And we want to introduce the Finnish field of gender equality work for the group, various women organizations, perhaps also men's organizations as well. And then we want to get some speakers from Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, meaning Center for Gender Equality Information, a person from there, and then various gender equality researchers from the capital region, from the universities and other organizations to get more information around the whole subject as such in Finland and in other countries as well. And then we will contact the Ombudsman for Equality and also the Ombudsman for Non-Discrimination. There are two officials in the Minister of Justice in Finland, so we hope we get a presentation from there as well. And after these introductions, we will be collecting best practices on agreed project theme that is still to be agreed on. Last time we have been discussing about the biggest problems international women face on the job markets, and will probably continue with that or some other theme. So we hope this part can be taken in place face-to-face meeting, because there will be maximum 20 people joining this meeting. And in Finland we have the restrictions are not so strict anymore. They have been changing over the last couple of weeks and will be updated during the June again. So we are now allowed to meet with 20 to 50 people, and there are some looser areas in Finland as well. So if we get these vaccinations in place and traveling restrictions are getting easier after the summer, like last year as well. So we hope we will meet face to face, but that is yet to be seen, unfortunately. And then this UWE conference, I'm very excited about this one, because we will be running this the way we are having this meeting together today with you, and it's all going so smoothly and well, and people are sharing ideas and opinions and taking part into the discussions. So I'm very convinced that we can have a very good online meeting together. But as the situation today is still so that the restrictions between different countries are quite strict, and we are not yet sure how to do with this type of large conferences, having 100 people, around roughly 100 people gathered together. So this is the reason why we are having this online. There are some major seminars and conferences in Finland that have been postponed from October till the future as well. So September, October timings, they are still so uncertain and insecure with the pandemic restrictions. So we can't take the risk that we will arrange everything in place face to face and then it will be cancelled, because we have to cancel the conference venues, etc. And they have to be cancelled 60 days before the meeting. So that is the reason why we concentrate on online meeting. But anyway, the goal of this meeting is to bring people together and give people information and especially hope within the pandemic timing and in the situations in different countries, etc. Because hope is very important, and the more information you have, the better you can cope with the future as well. And especially I'm waiting for the discussions with people in different workshops and also during the meeting, because the idea is to share best practices across Europe, lessons we have learned during the pandemic, the good sides and the good things that have happened, and also how to cope with different difficulties, etc. So what are the best practices everybody has been facing and creating during this pandemic time? The timetable for the meeting or the conference is 4 hours. The actual timing is yet to be decided, meaning shall we start at 10 or 12 Europe time, Finnish time, etc. And the contents is that we will have some speakers, some experts from different subjects, and then workshops with all the participants. And we still need to decide how many people can be involved in this conference, because we have these workshops, and then the registration will be opened in August. And here you can see the overall program for the day. And we will start at noon, but as said, the timing will depend on what time noon, based on the countries that are participating in this seminar. So the welcome words will be coming from Nègre and Kirsi Jokikokko, and then we will be giving a short introduction related to the workshops that will take place in the end of the day, and testing also the facilities, etc., so that the technical part will be in place when we start these workshops. And I find these the themes of the workshops very, very interesting, because we have 4 themes, possibly a 5th one if Roxanne will get or remember what it was the 5th theme she was having in her mind in the last meeting. But anyway, the 4 themes that have already been decided are education, work, health and human relations, and new possibilities. With education, the question is that how has the pandemic affected young people and their studies? Anne Turunen will be taking care of this workshop. And then work, how has the pandemic affected workers and entrepreneurs? Kirsi Jokikokko is taking care of this workshop. And the 3rd one is health and human relations. How has the pandemic affected people's mental health and relationships? And Jutta Hartikainen is an expert in this area. And the 4th one is led by me, new possibilities. What kind of ecological and digital improvements and services has the pandemic brought to people in different age groups? Thinking of children, from children to elderly people as well. And then we will have researchers, a couple of them. The first one will be giving a lecture for us about the pandemic and the gender equality at the EU level. And we try to get someone from the European Institute of Gender Equality. The presentation will be about 20 minutes, and then we have 10 minutes for questions and discussion. Then we have a short break. Commercial collaboration means that we will have an expert from a gym or some other personal trainer's place to give us real good stretching for the next session. That will be the pandemic and the gender equality. And the lecturer will come from Institute for Health and Welfare or the University of Helsinki, either or. And that will be the first part of the conference, and the next part will be covered by these workshops and also the results and discussions related to it. And this will be very collaborative and very participative part. So we will use different type of digital tools, etc., to get everybody involved in the discussions, and also so that we can get material and best practices to be shared with each of the participants and their associations, etc. So that will be the end of the day. And as said, there are a couple of open questions which we will solve during this month, about the timetable, at what time to start, and what to do with the number of participants. Can we take more than 100 people? Because that would mean roughly 25 people per workshop. And that is almost the maximum amount you can have in a workshop, so that everybody can participate and have a word to say. And then we have this AGM meeting. I will give you a slide about that after this one. How to do with that? Shall we restrict the number of participants there as well, or what to do with that? And then should we have a 5th workshop that would also give a bit more space for people to participate, so that if we have 5 workshops, then we can at least have the 100 or 110 people involved. And Roxana will think about this one still. And then the AGM meeting, that will be on a Sunday. And Susanna will host again the technical part of the meeting. We are using the same link for Saturday and Sunday so that everything will go as smoothly as possible. Nègre will give you the welcome words for the meeting. And then we have a nice part, at least I think, and enjoy about this one, especially because we will have the NFA reports from different countries and also hope to get video stories, just like in the Eurovision Song Contest, so that you could present your countries or some nice issues or whatever you want to share and give to show the most interesting, the most nicest or the funniest parts of your country to be shared with other participants. And then we start the real meeting and have a lunch break there in the middle of the day, and then we continue till the evening. So this will be a whole day meeting as such. And then we have the last day, meaning the Monday. If there are people who have come to Helsinki from other countries, there's an option to have a free speech and a tour around the city and the places you want to visit then. So that will be held on Monday. So we will take wishes and then try to host the places you want to go and see and meet. But this is unfortunately only for the ones who are able and allowed to come to Finland during these days. So unfortunately a small number of people, but still it is included in the program. So this is the overall picture of the meetings. And here you can see the schedule, what is to come and the dates, important dates for everybody to join the conferences and meetings. So we will be finalizing the program during this month, having a couple of meetings. Hopefully everything is in place in the end of May. And then the program will be shared and published late July at the latest. In Finland, we have summer holidays, you could say starting from beginning of June till mid-August. So Finland is more or less closed during this summer holiday days. So this is the reason why we try to get everything in place in May and published in the late July, so that we can fine tune if needed anything. And then the conference registrations will start in the beginning of August. So everybody has time for the August to register themselves and also get familiar with these workshop themes, so that everybody can choose 2 workshops, and that way we can and at least hope to be able to guarantee that everybody can participate at least one of the workshops they mainly are interested in. So this is what we are going to offer you in September, and hope that you are able to join and share your ideas and best practices with all of us. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much for that, Paulina. It was
thank you.
Really good, really interesting. I'm very much looking forward to it, albeit we may end up there with you virtually. Let's hope that some of us can get there too. Great program, really great topics, very relevant for this year or last few years, should I say. We're really looking forward to it. I'm unsure if we have any direct questions at the moment, but if we do, they can pop it in the chat and we can always ask it at the end. I think what we should do is now move on to our young member reports, if that's okay.
Yes, please. I would like to add something.
Go ahead.
As President, thanks a lot for planning everything in Finland, because it's very difficult. We hoped last year that we have the next AGM in presential in real, but it's not possible. So we are very sorry about that. But you must prepare the appeal for the election of the new member, and we are going to be sure, and we are sure that we have a system to have a secret ballot for the election. Last time it was so difficult for us, we didn't know how to make with all that technical thing, and the time was very short, and now we know. We know, so there is no problem for the election. Last time it was not easy. So please do, like always, for when you receive the appeal for election, to have some member. If not, it's not necessary, maybe because we are all the member of the board going, we can go through new mandate, but it's the free of your decision. And I'm sure now, and you see that with that marvelous day today, that marvelous meet and greet, that we can have fun with video, and it's incredible to have that success. And thank you for friends, for Dad, for Leighanne, and so on. And I'm sure that for Finland it'd be great. But I hope that in few months we are together, really, and that we can kiss and have nice time together and have some, not real Irish coffee, but something to drink with. Thank you very much to be there. Thank you very much to now waiting and listen of our young member, our future.
Thank you, Anne. That was wonderful. I do agree. I do hope we can meet in person. Absolutely. So our young member reports, we have 3 today. The first one is Lithuania, the second is Russia, and the third is Trinity College Dublin. We've simply put them in alphabetical order. It's the easiest way to do it. So first of all, can I ask the wonderful UWE person to begin presenting? I believe you're going to do your presentation live today.
Hello. We are very glad to see you. We are young members. Together we take part 3 of our Lithuanian women. If I can, I invite my colleague and our coordinator, Jūratė Kaspersen. Jūratė, can you speak? Hello? She lives in...
Yeah, I'm here. May I share the screen?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, I'll try to find quickly where I am.
Just an introduction, Dahlia.
Wow. That fast, I cannot, sorry about that.
Oh, you're grand. Don't worry.
Well. Can you see that?
Not at the moment. No.
Okay, that was the wrong one.
Yeah, if you press share screen, we can only see you at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. So it's still a little bit the technology. What about now?
No, we can still just see you. You need to press share screen on the Zoom, the little green button at the bottom menu. And then pick which screen you'd like to share, which should be your presentation.
Still no signs?
No, I do have a copy if you'd like me to present and you can speak over.
Yeah, I would, but how can I so quickly send you? Dalia, could you send the presentation?
Yes, for Roxana, I sent.
Yes, I think I have it here. Just give me 2 ticks and I will take a look for you.
Luma presentation. Sorry about that.
Let me see. I should have a copy here. Yep, I do. I have a copy right here, so I will open it for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If you want, you can just prompt me and I will.
Yeah, there's only 3 slides, so we'll be quick. Not
okay.
do that one, okay?
Yeah, give me 1 moment and I have brought it up here. I will put it in full screen and then I'll share my screen and you can have you can speak over it. Okay. Here we go. There. Can everyone see my slides okay? I want to say mine.
That's Helsinki.
Oh, wrong one. Give me 2 ticks. Moving too fast through my folders. That's Helsinki.
Luma presentation and today's date?
Yeah, it should be here. It's not here at the moment. The one I opened I thought was yours, but it's obviously Finland's. What we'll do is, would you mind if I let Russia go ahead?
Yeah.
And you can send me your slides and we'll just swap the order. Would that be okay?
Yeah. Darla, do you have the email of?
Yeah. Louise, could you pop
Yes.
it in the chat?
Maybe we can talk about us if our presentation not open.
It's up to yourselves. You can either send me the presentation and we can do it next.
Yeah, we can do it next, Darla. Let the others go. We get organized.
Jurate, maybe we can talk about us without slides. Yes, in short about us.
Yeah. Okay. May I start then, if it's okay with the rest of you?
Absolutely. So, you're more than welcome.
Okay. Yeah, we might be young here in the European regional branch, but actually LUMA stands for Lithuanian University Women's Association, and the branch that was founded in 1927. Between the wars, registered next year 1928, and already the following year 1929 we joined the International Graduate Women's Association. Objectives, as all around the world, were the same: the human rights, peace, international participation and cooperation, and of course, as a young nation that regained its independence, we wanted to represent Lithuania worldwide and in Europe, of course. The first president was Professor Vanda Tumenine. But all these nice our objectives were stopped in 1940 during the Second World War, and after that the Soviet occupation stopped all life and work of NGOs. And then we had to really stop all the activities till after re-establishment of independence. So the second step is after 1990, after the fall of Berlin Wall and the re-establishment of the independence, the Lithuanian University Women Association was revived in 1991, and the first meeting took place at Vilnius University. That was the only university in Soviet Lithuania, so the university women were the most active to revive the organization's activities, and there we got a new name. From then on, from 91, this association was called Lithuanian University Women Association. The symbol, unfortunately you cannot see our logo. The symbol is the cross and the sun, and they overlap each other, which actually shows the main activities that women are associated with: cross for sorrow and sun for love. So the sorrow and love crisscross in every woman. And at the moment we have 6 branches in Lithuania, and we had in the meantime here in the last 30 years we had 4 presidents. And Dalia Poškienė, that just spoken, she is our president since 2008 for the last 13 years. We are members of international organizations, that is Graduate Women's International from 2008, North Baltic Region University Women Association from 2008, and we are the youngest, I think, University Women of Europe joined last year. Main activities, as most of you do, and I think we are similar in that it women's study centers, establishing and operate through them, educational, environmental topics, lifelong learning. Main events here lately, to mention a few. In 2017 in Kaunas, we were hosting a big conference that 11 European countries participated, and it was called Migration and the Future of Europe. Lithuanian delegation participated in the Graduate Women International Centenary Conference in Geneva, Peace Through Education. And for future, we have a huge event coming at the end of this year, as we are celebrating 30 years anniversary of the revival of our association. Of course, LUMA is not the only women's association operating in Lithuania. After the re-establishment of independence, many women organizations, they diversified, they have their focuses in social, caritative or educational areas, or more in political areas. So LUMA is mainly focused on educational and environmental topics. And this 30 years anniversary will be celebrated on the 7th of December at Vilnius University, where it was revived, the association. And we are at the moment preparing a book of reflection of these 30 years, also touching the origins of the organization between the wars. I would say that would be the main points. And if Dale, you have something to add, so.
Just to make you aware, we have your presentation now, we've received it, so we can either quickly run through it or we're happy to share it with everyone after. Would you like us to do that?
Yeah, these are the 3 slides. If you go quickly, that's actually the summary of what I said.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
We'll quickly go ahead, Dalia.
I want to say some words more about about our Jūratė Kaspersen. She is our member of honor of our association, and she also is a member of of Lithuanian World Society. And what we why we spent last year during pandemic situation, our association organized many social meetings, and we have art therapy, health therapy, and here take part with us our famous doctor. We have lectures for our adults and others, and we have, as we saw, women with things, we have art members, painters, doctors, and different specialties, and we have partners from Kaunas Technology University, Vytautas Magnus University, and also 12 years ago established one branch in West America, and they have 12 members, and work in field in our women education. And we hope that at the end of this year, we organize our conference and invite our neighbors and board of Europe Women Association, and we hope that our coordinator Jurata Kaspersen visit your boat, and we can more know about all you. And thank you very much for this event and for this meeting.
You're most welcome, Delia. Thank you very much for that update. It was wonderful. I have received your slides, so what I have done.
Yeah, you can. Could you put the second one as well?
Absolutely. So I have the first one up as a preview now. As you said, it's a nice summary, just a nice simple summary. It's perfect. So the second one, if you can see that, is that okay? Can you see it?
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. So it explains after 1990 what they've been doing, their main activities, their main event, just as you've described.
Yeah,
it's just wonderful.
And then the last one, thank you.
And the last one, what they plan for the future. Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you
for preparing that for today. It was most enjoyable. Great to hear from you both. I now have an update from Russia. Zoya Apurlova, I hope I pronounced that correctly, has prepared a recorded video of their presentation. So I'm just going to nip on to that now, but thank you both very much. That was brilliant. Look forward to the news on the conference. Okay. So I'll just share my screen again with you all. Okay, here we go. Brilliant, and hope everyone can see my screen now, yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic, and I'll press play.
Dear participants of the conference, we would like to make a short presentation about Federation of Graduate Women of Russia. I'm a president of this federation. My name is Zoya Pivalova. I live in St. Petersburg, and here we have the main office of our federation. It was founded 30 years ago. When Nina Andreeva, she was the founder of our NGO, decided to create the national branch of the International Association of University Women, which is now Graduate Women International. What we do? First of all, it is the projects of promotion women in education and science. It is forums and conferences about education, about science, about role of women in these fields. We organize national and international internships and trainings, and we would like also to tell about social partnerships projects between NGOs and scientific and educational organizations. Our projects. This April, we held a conference, and we believe that it is the beginning of the project for people with disabilities. Our member, Marina Yeroma, was the initiator of this project. The conference was called Learning, Comfort and Safety During Lifetime. And we discussed different problems of education, socialization, and professional training of people over 18 years old with mental and intellectual disabilities. We have a few activities in the field of STEM and STEAM. For example, our branch in Gubkin is the organizer of a few webinars. Unfortunately, it is Russian language webinars only on STEAM education. For example, on May 14, we will have another one. We also have a few projects for schools, for preschool, for high school, and for higher education as well. For example, it can be STEAM camps, it can be different competition like Akademina in Novosibirsk for women who are scientists, and so on and so on. So we invite you to be a part of our activities in this field. Also, our members take part in different conferences. Some of them you can see here in the screen. We also organize some conferences in the field of education and science. another one which is devoted to the topic Young Women in Education and Science will be on May 20th. Here you can see the link to the site of the conference. You are very welcome to be a part of it. We will be waiting for your registrations and for your presentations. Also, we try to be a part of different activities in different fields. For example, we are the organizers of the session for young business women at the conference East and West meet in St. Petersburg. We were the partners of the conference Women Conf Coach, and so on and so on. So we try to be very active in different fields. Also, we have very nice branches which are also very active. For example, Ivanova branch organizing different gender conferences on different gender studies. We will have another one in June this year. So I'm very, very happy to have such branches and such active members. We try to take part in different international conferences and events, for example, in UN, in New York, in UN of Geneva, and this year we took part in parallel events in mock trial, which was organized by Graduate Women International. We also are part of open world programs. They give us the possibility to nominate our members to be the students of this program. Triennial conferences of Graduate Women International. We do different international collaboration. For example, we meet wonderful girls from GWI in St. Petersburg. Here you can see the picture. We are very happy to meet here our friends from abroad. So you're very welcome to visit our city when the pandemic will end. We also take part in the project with Finland Sustainability Studies in High Schools. We have international project with USA on STEM and on education people with disabilities. Here you can see some pictures of our collaboration and some of our events, international events. You can see another information about our events and what we do in our Instagram page. You're welcome to visit it and to subscribe it. Thank you for your attention and we wish you very good work during this conference.
Thank you very much, Zoya. That was great. Visual, very nice to see all the collaboration as well. Really, really great. Well done. Very well done, I must say. We do have one more young members report. So as we're quite over on time, I will gladly welcome the lovely Lucy Corkin. I think I might have said your name wrong. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for presenting. It's lovely to have you present for us today, as well as our other young members. If you'd like to start.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. We can hear you well too.
Brilliant. Just one second. Perfect. So good afternoon and thank you very much to the IrFUW for inviting me to present today. My name is Lucy Corkin and I am the Vice President this year for Trinity Women Graduates. And today I'm going to give you a brief overview of our activities and events over the past year. So first of all, who are we? So Trinity Women Graduates are an organization, a member organization of the IrFUW, and we aim to connect, to support and inspire. So we connect through our membership and through our participation in the IrFUW and through UWE and the GWI with other women graduates. And we also provide a connection back to the campus in Trinity College as well. And to support, so we support our graduates through a series of different events through the year, and also through our fundraising for different campaigns and education and scholarships, which I'll talk more about later. And finally, to inspire, and that's mainly through our series of events, which I'll talk about again later on this presentation. So like us all, in 2020, we were forced to rethink how we delivered our series of events throughout the year. And one way that we've done this is we came up with a few different types of events. So one of these was our virtual book club, where we invited members to join online and to meet with the authors of some recent novels published. So in 2020, we had 2 TWG virtual book club events. These were intimate events, and the first with Hilary Fannin on her first novel published last year, The Weight of Love, and also with Colin McCann on his novel A Paragon, which went on to be longlisted for the Booker Prize. So we had these wonderful intimate events with these authors for our members to connect and discuss these books. Another new type of event that we launched in 2020 was a partnership event with Women in Research Ireland. So the first of these was our Women in Astronomy webinar, where we heard from Dame Jocelyn Bell Burnell, the esteemed astrophysicist, on her experiences, and also her time where she formed the Athena Swan accreditation scheme to promote gender equality in higher education. And this was a really wonderful event. And if anyone's interested, there's a recording of this available on our website, so you can rewatch it. In 2021, we kicked off our event series with a virtual campus walk. So one thing we've missed over the past year is not being able to access Trinity, the beautiful campus itself, where we would usually meet for our committee meetings, and we'd also host a number of our events for our members on campus. So what we arranged instead was a virtual tour with Professor Christine Casey from Trinity College, who's a professor of architectural history at Trinity. And she gave us a really engaging virtual walk through the campus to some of her favorite sites and some of the lovely buildings there and the details. So this was a lovely chance to reconnect our members with the campus of Trinity College. To celebrate International Women's Day this year, we partnered again with Women in Research Ireland organisation, and we hosted an event to celebrate Irish scientists who've been really active in the global COVID-19 response. So this was a really topical discussion and really engaging, where we heard from Professor Aoife McLysett, Professor of Genetics at Trinity College Dublin, as well as Professor Máire Connolly of NUI Galway, who has been really active in pandemic research prior to this global pandemic and previously worked with the World Health Organization. So it was a really exciting celebration of these Irish scientists and their contribution to our COVID response in Ireland and globally. So back to our aims. So again, to connect, to support and inspire. So our Connect, we issue regular e-zine mails to our members, and if anyone would like to sign up for this, you can sign up on our website. So there's some screenshots here from some of our recent mails, and you'll see our current president, Dr. Sandra O'Connell, in the middle there, who I think is on this call today as well. Support and inspire. So a really key focus of Trinity Women Graduates is to support different initiatives for women in Ireland and students. And we do this through our scholarship and education fund and our bursary fund. So we were, thanks to the generous support of our members, we were able to support 2 scholarships for undergraduate students at Trinity College on the Trinity Access Programme. And we were also able to support in 2020 a postgraduate student with a scholarship on the Trinity Access Programme. We also provided funding and support to Trinity's student counselling service to support sexual consent workshops and focus groups. And we've launched, as I said, lots of different podcasts, which you can, and events, and you can look at these on our website. So there's a podcast on career advice and career makeover strategies available that you can listen to. So Trinity Women Graduates as an organisation was first set up in 1922. So we're approaching our centenary. And here I've just picked a quote out from the wonderful book, A Danger to the Men, A History of Women in Trinity College Dublin by Susan Parks, where she says, one of the most important milestones in the increasing status of women in the college was the founding of the Dublin University Women's Graduate Association, which is now Trinity Women Graduates. So we're really looking forward to celebrating our centenary next year. And with that in mind, we're planning an event shortly to celebrate our 99th anniversary. So in this slide, you'll see our our founding president, Lucy Gwynn, and Olive Purser, the first vice president, who was also the first female Trinity scholar. So with that in mind, and on the theme of our year is courage and curiosity. So to celebrate our 99th anniversary this year, we'll be hosting an online event in conversation with Senator Ivana Bacik and Professor Linda Doyle. So Senator Ivana Bacik is an elected member of Shanadair in the Irish Senate and a Reid Professor of Criminology at Trinity College and a barrister. And we're delighted to be joined as well by Professor Linda Doyle, who was recently the new elected Provost of Trinity. So this, for the first time ever, Trinity will have its first female Provost taking office from August in its long history since 1592. So this is a really exciting moment, and we're looking forward to discussing and conversing with these two esteemed women on their time at Trinity, their hopes for the future, and again, their hopes for the future now with our first female Provost starting later this year. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. So just a quick reminder that if anyone's interested to find out more about Trinity Women Graduates, please do check out our website, and you can also contact us. I've put the email address there, and do consider joining some of our upcoming events. All of our events are online at the moment for 2021 and are free to register for. And you can also sign up to our mailing list or follow us on social media. And I'm happy to take any questions now. So thank you very much for the chance to present today. And one final congratulations and thank you to the IrFUW for the wonderful event today. That's been so enjoyable.
Thank you very much. That's lovely. I'm very proud of those presentations. I think they were all equally wonderful and provided fantastic updates for everyone. Lots of events coming up. If we've been invited to join, we should all make the effort to try to join and collaborate and participate as best we can. That really does conclude most of our program today. I guess all I have to say is a huge thank you. Thank you to the IrFUW for organising this together. Thank you to UWE for letting us host. I am so grateful. It's been nice to go through and host all the bits, but the formal thanks will probably come from our president, Frances Patton. So I would like to hand over to Frances. Thank you.
Thank you, Leighanne. Am I on screen?
You are. Absolutely. Go on ahead.
Speaker view. Thank you, Leighanne. And I have just two messages before I say thank you to everybody. The first message is I'd like to remind you that our meeting today has been recorded, so we can follow up on any queries that were raised during the meeting. The second message is from the President of the British Federation, BFWG, Jasmine Full. She tells me that they are planning a meet and greet with India to stand in solidarity with them and other countries that are going through such a humanitarian disaster at present. They'd like to invite everyone to join them on Saturday, the 19th of June at 3:30, and that is British Summer Time. And the details will be on their website, the British Federation of Women Graduates. That's my two messages. Now, finally, I'd like to thank everybody for making our meet and greet today such an enjoyable and memorable event. A special thank you to the speakers for their interesting talks, to the food demonstrators, to our musical entertainers, and for the young members for their presentation. Thank you to the UWE board, all the UWE NFA members and friends who attended. A very special thank you to our host in Belfast, Leighanne, who was assisted today by Claire Louise for running a very smooth event. I'll now say goodbye from Ireland until we meet again. And as we say in Irish, Slán agus Bhreathnach-Lynch go léir. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. It's lovely to see everyone, and I'll keep the Zoom open for another 10 minutes if anyone wants to straggle behind and stay on, but it's been a long day, so feel free to go.
Thank you. It was a great event. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, Leighanne.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It was great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was excellent.
Great.
Thank you very much. That was terrific.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Very well done and well presented.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All of it.
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful morning. Thanks a million. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Leighanne. Wonderful morning, and thank you to Francis as well.
Yes, absolutely.
IrFUW.
Wonderful singing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye, Síghle.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Stacey.
And hello to a lot of people. I didn't get a chance to say hello and goodbye, and we hope we meet soon. Okay. Let's hope.
Bye, Mary. Bye, Mary.
Bye, Mary.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, Leighanne.
See
you soon.
See you soon, Yasmin.
Bye.
Well done, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. The best thing about this bit is everyone that speaks comes to the front. So when I record this, we're going to see everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Leighanne. Thank you so much. This is Sudha from British Federation, and I have sent a message in the chat for our Young Members Network webinar on 12th of June. So I would really be looking forward to all members of UWE to attend. It will be CEST 4 p.m. on 12th of June. And the registration link I have posted in chat. And I also wanted to say to all UWE young members to please join us. By default, being UWE young member, you are young member of GWI. So you are most welcome on board. Please contact me. I have posted my email address here as well. So you are most welcome to contact me and be on board. We have informal WhatsApp group where we share network chat. So you are most welcome. Thank you, Leighanne, for a wonderful program.
Thank you, Sudha. Lovely to see you. See you next month at your event. Thank you. We have a wealth of information in this chat, so I'll definitely take a deep brief and take everything out of it for everyone. Thanks for sharing. Fantastic. So we've whittled down right now from 100 and I think it was 18 at our peak, 19, and we're now at 26. It's good to see some faces because now I can kind of see a few people as well, you know. It's quite nice. I want to change my view to gallery view so the recording can see everybody that's here still. Oh, Edith, I can see you speaking, but I can't see you.
You need to unmute.
I can see Edith doing this, giving a 10 out of 10.
So now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, lovely to see you. Here's Gerda. She has her birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Congratulations, Gerda. 84, is it?
Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday, Gerda.
Lovely to see you both here.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Until next year.
Absolutely. Hopefully see you soon. I can see Una here as well from Belfast. Hi, Una.
Hello, how are you? Congratulations all of you. That was absolutely magnificent.
Oh, we did our best given the circumstances. It was a bit of
no end. Absolutely. It really was superb.
And I'm looking forward to Finland in September. They'll have a lot of breakout rooms and such, so it seems. So that'll be another step up, you know. I can learn from them by September.
Yeah.
But, I think we did quite well. We organised a good programme. So thanks to Francis and Máire and Annette and Margaret and Louise as well. Bless her, sitting beside me. But on a different laptop. We did quite well. So yeah, I just thought it'd be good to stay on for just, you know, everyone to stay on could have a chat and have a conversation. But also because whoever stays behind, we can see you now in the lovely recording. So it's nice to give you 2 minutes of fame for our archives and just who's left, you know. It is meant to be a social event. It would have been lovely to have it sit and have a great conversation, but we're not together. Oh well. But I think today did it justice. So I hope we can meet again soon. I'll drop off now, and whoever wants to stay behind can stay behind. It won't close the event, I don't think. So you can stay for a chat if you like, but I think now we're time to unwind. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thanks, Leighanne.
Thanks, Leighanne.
Thanks, Leighanne.
Very, very
Wonderful
well.
job.
Lovely to see you all, honestly. See you again soon.
Thanks, Leighanne.